Here we are. Good. Okay. So I'd like to introduce everybody to Amanda. Amanda came to me to give up smoking some time ago now. It's a real pleasure to see you again, Amanda, and thank you so much for coming on to do this this testimonial.
Oh, you're welcome,
so I'd like to sort of pass it over to you first of all to say, how did you choose hypnosis as your route to give up smoking?
I have tried quite a few different ways to give up smoking. I've read several books. I've tried all sorts of methods. Willpower being the biggest one probably, and I've unsuccessfully managed it. And unfortunately, I've very much smoked on and off since the age of 14. So over these years, I've tried so many things, because smoking isn't something for me that I particularly enjoyed, and I used to hide it a lot. So it was a massive taboo for me. But I just could not stop, and I tried so many different methods.
Mm-hmm. So you came to me for some hypnosis to help you give up smoking. And how did you find it was a one session. So how did you find that session?
Really good, really interesting, very relaxing. I didn't realise the impact of it till several weeks later. Didn't really know what to expect, came into it really, really open-minded. Wasn't too sure how it was going to work, because obviously we were on Zoom and I was a little bit skeptical maybe. Mm-hmm. But afterwards, I think automatically felt the shift. I didn't feel the urge for a cigarette, and the fact that we've been talking about it, which always would heighten that if I'd ever discuss cigarettes, first thing I'd want. But yeah, it was unbelievable. I think I noticed a massive shift within hours, days, then weeks, then months. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really positive experience, and I'd recommend it to anybody. It's just, I think for me, having that trust and just going forward with that openness, really, that you can make these changes if you believe in it. Yeah,
that's it. Believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And self-sabotage is quite a thing, isn't it? Smoking is one of those self-sabotaging things. How was that mindset for you?
Massively. So for me, I am absolute typical self-sabotager, and for me, cigarettes were a reward. It was like, I deserve a cigarette. I've had a really busy day, or I've done this, I'm going to go for a cigarette now. So that was one of my biggest sort of pitfalls, if you like. And like I say, I would do it in secret. I wasn't very open about it. I would always have to wash my hands and put perfume on and have a mint. It wasn't never a really enjoyable experience. I always made it quite a traumatic experience. So and I never really enjoyed it when I'd done it, in a way, because I'd do it really quick, because I wanted to get washed and ready and get back to normal. And I'd try and hide it from my family and friends and my children. So it was a really odd situation that I found myself in. It was never enjoyable for me, but I just could never give up, and I could never stop. And I could try and go hours without one, but it never went to days.
Yes, yeah. And since giving up, which was a few months ago now, 3 months now or something like that?
Yeah, 3 or 4 months now.
Mm-hmm. How have you been feeling?
I can't believe how easy it was. I have not picked a cigarette up since. I have had the urges, but only, if I'm in certain environments, maybe if I smell somebody walk past with my brand and I think, but the complete opposite. Absolute opposite. I don't feel like a smoker. I think that's the shift for me.
That's the shift, yeah.
I always felt like a smoker, even if I tried to give up. But I just don't feel like a smoker anymore. I just feel that I feel like it's just completely disappeared. It's left me. And I don't feel like I've got that burden of wanting a cigarette, which I think I never thought would leave me again. It was something that consumed me all the time. If I was out for a nice meal, I'm going to go outside for a cigarette now. If I was out for a drink with a friend, I'm going to have a cigarette now. If I was at work, or if the children go to bed, I'm going to nip outside for a cigarette. So I feel a lot of freedom since that's happened. It's just a massive shift in my thought process.
Yeah, brilliant. And hypnosis, for a lot of people, it isn't what they expected it to be. We deal with there's parts of you that run programs. And it's the whole mindset about the cravings. So cravings are a natural thing that, there are reminders that come up in everyday life, but it's how much control it has over you. But I reference that parts thing, parts of us that run programs. And that's a big element of how hypnosis works as opposed to other things. So it's a program that no longer runs inside you. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think for me, really impacting on going backwards, like when I first started smoking, was probably something that I'd not considered since then, which was like, say, age of 14. And it wasn't until you kind of brought that up and the feelings and emotions that were associated to that, that it really has brought it home for me. So even if I looked at a cigarette now, I would think about them first feelings of that first cigarette and how it made me feel. And I just feel really disconnected from it. It's really powerful. It's a really lovely feeling.
Yes, excellent. And as an effective means of giving up smoking, what would you, as final words, what would you say to people out there?
110%. And I've been saying that to friends ever since. I think afterwards, when I first gave up, I was a bit concerned of telling people and, oh God, what if I go back on myself? And then I kind of got to about the month mark, and I just wanted to tell anybody that wanted to hear, actually, that, oh my God, I've given up smoking. This is how I've done it. So yeah, give it a go, because for me, like I say, I've tried absolutely every way, and it wasn't something I necessarily wanted to be, was a smoker. And I tried so hard, and I really didn't want to go down the vape or get myself addicted to something else, which I think could have easily happened. And I know that could have been my easy way out, maybe. But for me, it's the whole mindset that's changed. The freedom, I got just the freedom that's come with it, to not be consumed by them thoughts all the time. And when I can get myself free for that cigarette, because like I say, for me, it was a secret, or I tried to hide, that was just took me out of so many situations maybe that I was enjoying, because I'd want that to end so I could get there. And I think that's, my mind just feels so different. I don't have that reward of, I'm going to go and enjoy this cigarette. It just isn't in my thoughts at all. It's just completely disappeared. And when I do see other people with cigarettes, I don't look and go, oh my God. I just think, no.
No, it's not you anymore.
It's so bizarre how quick that shift has been. Completely the opposite.
Yes.
Within, I think, a couple of hours of talking to you, it's unreal.
Any other side effects that you would like to talk about at all? Any other benefits?
Yeah, massively. So I think you said to me that you might have a moment where you've realised this has really worked for you. And I really did. And I kind of played on my mind afterwards. And I thought, no, nothing's happened. And I haven't had sort of any ta-da moment or anything. And then I met up with a friend's mum who I'd seen maybe 6 to 8 weeks earlier at a wedding reception, and I was heavily smoking. I'd had a few drinks, and that would be a massive time for me where I know I'd heavily smoke. And she offered me a cigarette, and I said, oh, I don't smoke. And I just gave her the worst look. And she said, oh, you do. And it was so genuine from my perspective. Like, I'm not a smoker. I can't believe you've just asked me. And that was my moment where I thought, I'm not a smoker. And it was such a nice feeling, and it kept playing on my mind, like, wow. And then also the self-sabotage side of it, without a doubt, it's something that's really, really connected with me. Going backwards and looking at when I do that, similar to cigarettes, of when I reward, if you like, what I feel I deserve. So I might do that with a glass of wine or more than one, and then just go a bit, but it's really, really affected my whole mindset on how I see that, and certainly how I sort of maybe treat myself, and what I see as a reward, as where before to me a reward would have been a box of cigarettes and a glass of wine. Now I might think, I'm going to go for a swim, or I'm going to go and take a bath. And I just think there's been a real change in my behaviour, but how I treat myself more than how it affects anybody else, which has been a game changer for me.
Brilliant.
In a really amazing way.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Amanda.
That's
and I
okay.
hope this will help a lot of other people to see how effective hypnosis is for giving up smoking and mental health in general, really. So, I
think to anybody that's open to it, they should just give it a go, because for me, like I say, it was, I didn't know what to expect, but all it's done is give some real positive side effects and outlooks and perspective. And to be free from cigarettes and that self-sabotage is just a game changer. It's a life-changing experience. So 100% recommend, and please give it a go.
Brilliant. Thank you. So
you're welcome.
Nigel Edwards at UK Hypnosis and Coaching. And once again, thank you to Amanda for that brilliant testimonial. Thank you so much indeed.
You're welcome, Nigel. Thank you.